Hello, government seekers. How are you? Guess what? I got the mic thing fixed. We're back to the nice mic. Things are good. Let's hope the tape doesn't fall down behind me. Just had a vegan smoothie. It was fantastic. Yes. Hello, everybody in the chat. Holly Horn is our moderator. Holly, feel free if you need to use your block finger if it gets hot. Good to see everybody in the chat. Thank you, everybody watching on my YouTube channel, which we've been remonetized, ladies and gentlemen. Right? So you can super chat through my channel or Lee's, because we're simulcasting on Lee's YouTube channel as well, and also over on The Rock Fin. So hello, Wendy, Omar, Holly. Good to see everybody. Anna, Joe, what's up? Dihako, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Yeah, so you can support the show with a super chat again. That happened. I was live streaming Friday from the SAG strike, the SAG WGA strike. I was live streaming on my phone. All of a sudden, I was like, I saw a super chat pop. I was like, what? So it's cool. We are remonetized. I got to change that scroll. Well, this is the government secret scroll, but the scroll for my show, I got to Deha, pronounced Deha. All right, Deha, go right on. Thank you for the clarification. And thank you, everybody watching over on The Rock Fin. Stay hydrated out there, Graham. It's getting hot. Yes. The SAG-AFTRA, they just, I get emails from SAG-AFTRA. That's my union. And apparently, I think tomorrow and Friday, because of heat in New York, the strikes in New York City, I think they're postponing the picket lines. So hello from Scotland. But let's do it. Let's bring them on. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Government Secrets with the two most censored comedians in the world, Lee Camp and Graham Hillwood.
Hello, sir.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm sorry to see UPS signed a deal, so they're not joining your strike. But
oh, well, I guess that's a good thing. I mean, I hope they got a good deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether it was a good deal or
yeah,
what,
or what.
It's like they get a pork sandwich every Tuesday or something, and that's it.
Well, I don't know I would guess negotiate with the Teamsters. The Teamsters bring a little extra leverage into that negotiating room. That sort of some unspoken leverage. That
it's unspoken, but it involves baseball bets. Yeah.
There's a lot of just like veiled, like, yeah, it'd be a real shame if we didn't get our deal and you fell down a flight of stairs. You know what I mean? That'd be a real.
I don't know if you've ever felt a UPS truck drive over you, then back up and do it again, but.
Yeah, I'd hate for a heavy box to get accidentally dropped on your kneecaps or something like that. That'd be a real shame, Yeah, I was walking the picket line at Fox Studios yesterday, and as I was walking there, I walked past the Century City Hotel, and the local hotel workers, a union, Local 11, was protesting. They're protesting.
Oh yeah, I covered that. Are they still protesting? Yeah.
There's roughly 68 or 69 hotels that they're picketing.
Yeah.
So I just walked with them. It was pretty awesome. It was pretty cool.
When you walk the picket line, do you have is there a sachet? Is there a strut? Is it kind of very straightforward? Do you do like a march, military march, or
how do you
march?
I march like I'm doing wind sprints back when I played football in high school. So I just go crazy back and forth, just screaming. So speaking of screaming, I wanted to apologize to everybody last week. I was not having a great week, and I lost it a little bit on the stream, and I apologize to the audience and to you, Lee. You got kind of thrown into that. So it wasn't great, but I'm human, and I'm dealing with some other outside stuff, and it's so.
Yeah, and I'll just leave it at that, except to say that for the people who are like, Graham said something that we disagree with, so therefore he should die and you should never speak to him again. I think that's what we call childish. I think you can disagree with someone. You can, and not think that they need to die of ass cancer tomorrow. It's just,
yeah. We live in great times where somebody disagrees with you on one thing, they literally go nuts and want you to be set on fire. So, yeah, my reasons for being mad, I'm not going to apologize for those. How I expressed it, that I'm sorry for. So, but what are you going to do? Yeah, this is what happens when you live stream and you just like it. I got to tell you, it is frustrating to be walking like the strikes are really cool. They unify people, right? I'm seeing friends, people in show business. And there's and people from other unions. I was marching with people from the teachers union and the nurses union on strikes, and a guy who's an agent was like, hey, my clients, and agents get a bad rap in Hollywood, but they're actually some good agents. It is a little frustrating to be like marching in front of these big billion-dollar corporations that have CEOs that are making a lot of money, and they're telling us we're being ridiculous. So when any sort of rich person is doing
unreasonable, you're being unreasonable.
We're being unreasonable. It is a very frustrating time. And one of the times I marched in front of Sony, which owns Game Show Network, and there's a show I did for Game Show Network years ago that they've started rerunning 2 years ago, and I'm not getting a penny in residuals, and I've been talking to SAG-AFTRA since like March of last year.
But they did CGI replace your face with like it's a unicorn, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what they did. They made a CGI to show him a unicorn. No, Lee, that's just it. They can't even. No,
I know you. I know. I'm kidding. But yeah, they've been using your shows for 2 years.
Yes, I'm the host of the show. I'm in 90% of the shots, and I'm not getting paid. And someone's making money. There's no way they're re-airing that show for free. Right. They're not re-airing it on PBS. So it's
my favorite
frustrating thing.
My favorite example of that was, I don't know if people remember the Rodriguez documentary, where the singer Rodriguez is it's discovered that he's the superstar in South Africa and he never knew it. And they talked to the guy who owned the record company and they're like, well, he sold 1 million albums in South Africa. Where did that money go? It's got to go somewhere. And the guy gets really cagey and he's like, what's that even mean? 1 million albums. What's that even? What do you mean money? What's that even mean? And you're like, oh, this guy has the money.
Oh, it's in his bank account right there. Just check his bank account. Like, I love that. What does selling 1 million albums even mean? Oh, it's very clear. So 1 million albums at $10 each, that's $10 million. So where is the artist's share of that money? Does that clear it up for you?
Right. Yeah. But no, that's how they do it. If they can get away with funneling the money and never letting the artist know, like they're trying to do with this game show on you, they'll do it.
Well, and one of the things that if folks watch when I live stream, if you can do it when I'm live, but I'm also clipping out, I just start interviewing people walking the picket line. And one of the recurring things people keep bringing up, and people who aren't in show business might not be aware of this, is why I'm walking this picket line. I want people who aren't in show business to understand this. The streaming services, they're not releasing their financials. So we have no idea. It's like, somebody could have watched my show, my movie, Earbuds, the podcasting documentary that has a bunch of amazing podcasters in it. And that's been on Amazon Prime and it's been streaming, and they're like, oh, it hasn't made any money. Why do I know? Oh, it hasn't made any money. So it's like, they deliberately, part of one of the things we're asking for is just transparency. Like in the old days, you did a movie and they announced the box office sales because that was like a matter kind of public knowledge. And you couldn't hide from that. You couldn't, like every city I'm in, my movie, there's a line around the block. So where's my money? Now they're just like, we don't know who's streaming it. Oh, you don't know Netflix? You don't know down to the minute, down to the second, and down to the penny how much money?
It also means even if let's say they make a deal with a stand-up artist for their special, we're going to pay you $5,000 or $50,000 or whatever it is. then that special does well enough that Netflix is like, we'd like another with you. If that artist knew, like, oh, it didn't just do well, it did like millions and millions of views well, that artist would ask for more money because, wow, I'm quite the commodity for you. But if they have no fucking clue, they're just like, okay, I'll take the same shitty deal. You know?
Yeah. And in that particular instance, the stand-up comic that has the special that does really well on Netflix goes, well, because it's doing well on Netflix, at least I'm selling out the clubs, which is that is a really positive thing that can happen. But again, it's not fair because Netflix is making money off of that comedian's special. And again, it's like, we'll pay you 50 grand for another special. And if you knew, oh, that thing got 5 million views or something like that, and subscription sales jumped because of my special or whatever, it's
and
a
so
really
far,
frustrating.
I don't keep up with everything SAG-AFTRA. I mean, I still get my Law and Order SVU residual, 15 cents every couple months, but I don't really keep up with it. But is it like streaming do they owe nothing on streaming or very little or
nothing? You get nothing on streaming. Absolutely nothing. I mean, so there was 2 shows I did on Comedy Central, Nick Schwartzen's Pretend Time and the Sarah Silverman Show. I was on 2 episodes of Sarah Silverman and 1 episode of Nick Schwartzen. And I still get residual checks because those are Comedy Central shows. And when Comedy Central sells that to one of their like foreign territories, we get a little money. And literally I get 5 cents. I got 5 cents last week. I got 4 cents from the Sarah Silverman Show a month ago. Like I literally make less than $1 a year off of those shows.
Now, do you collect that directly from Sarah, or
she just drives by and throws pennies out her window at my apartment?
Yeah,
and says, "Grow up," and throws that at me. So, no, they sent me checks, physical checks.
Yeah,
that literally the check and the stamp and the paper probably cost $1 or $1.50, and for them to send me 4 cents.
Absolutely.
But the thing I always say, like my last one was for 5 cents, and it was kind of sweet because like I bought a private jet for 1 penny, I bought a yacht for another penny, and then
I gave 2 pennies to a guy and changed his life. So
yeah, I changed his life, and then the 3rd penny I just took to Vegas and blew it, and it was a blast. So I just bought just hookers and blow with that other penny in Vegas, and I got
people want to know what it's like to live like us and. Rolling.
Yeah. Take a nickel and go shopping. So, who's got the funner segment to go first? Who wants to?
Ooh, let's see. Both of them involve misery. Both of them involve death. But I'd say mine might be a little more lighthearted. Does that mean it goes first or second?
Oh, then it should go second.
Okay.
Yeah. It's oh, sweet. Somebody spent money in the super chats to troll. Thank you. Keep trolling me. Yes. Just spend money. I won't block you if you spend money. That's fantastic. Yeah, yours is probably a little bit lighter, so we should end with yours. Although I don't know. Yeah, yours is fitting because yours could also mean the end of the human race, which that's uplifting. So
well, that's I'm not focusing on that aspect of it, so it's not going to be about the end of the human race. But mine's also probably a little shorter, so we'll go with yours first.
So let me go. I want to talk about in government secret number 1. I want to talk about, I just want to read a list of CIA black sites, which is going to read like a fun travel blog. It's just
all right.
like,
yeah. In order to make this entertaining, you have to do a different accent with each. No,
each region will be like, this one's in jolly old England,
and they all sound exactly like that.
They're all
this one's in Afghanistan. Yeah.
This one's just outside Orlando, mate. They're super fun. So this is an exciting. I couldn't decide. There were so many. I was going to talk about the excessive bombing in Laos because we talked about Cambodia bombing during the Vietnam War. So we'll save that for another day. And so I want to talk about, so this is basically CIA's code name is Bright Light. That's the name of these black sites. Which,
see, now if it were light bright,
is
that why they? I wouldn't put it past them to have just reversed it from light bright, because it was like they have little dots all over the globe.
I think this is a tip of the hat to old school torture and interrogation, where they shine a bright light in somebody's face and make them, you know.
Yeah. I think those were the days. These our current torturees would long for a bright light. They would.
The golden era of torture.
Yes, they would. They would be more than willing to do the bright light situation.
So it's the code name of the CIA's network of black sites, clandestine interrogation centers. The location of the site in Bucharest, Romania, was confirmed in an exclusive report on the Associated Press on December 8th, 2011. One of the reasons I chose this is these are all places I've been to. I've been to Bucharest.
Not the black sites.
Not the black sites. I was like, unknowingly was in all of these places. I flew into Bucharest and then did a film festival in Cluj-Napoca, which is about 2 hours north of Bucharest. Beautiful town, wonderful people, great film fest. I don't know about their black sites, but
although half of the ones that you've been at, you've probably flown in on a military jet doing the USO tour. Right?
Oh, we're gonna get to some of those, buddy. There's some bases that I performed at in Afghanistan that I've now have black sites.
Part of the torture is they don't let you perform for the people being tortured. They're like, "There's a great comedian right over there. We're not gonna show you."
We just queued up this classic joke of, well, listening to your act was probably what they used to torture these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe one of our trolls will throw that one in there. They probably forced him to watch Graham. I'm so funny. I has punchline.
I want the trolls to come up with a new joke. All they have is like, Graham likes boosters and mandates. Like, come on.
They just yell.
The better one. And here's the thing I've never done in my life.
Yell all caps, boosters. I did it. I win. Yeah. They'll say, how many boosters have you got? I'm always like 53. I get a booster a week. I just go booster. I go to an all you can eat booster buffet and I just shoot myself full of boosters. But let's get into this. So first of all, we should say this. The Romanian president, Lan Iliescu, claimed in Der Spiegel, which is a German newspaper, that he approved just the use of the location without knowing the details of the secret prison. Oh, I love it when that happens. That almost still indicts him horribly, because it's like, hey, can we do something we're not going to tell you about right over there? Oh, sure. Go for it. What are you guys doing there? What's that? And then they scurry off.
I don't know, Lee. I think you're being unfair. I think it's totally reasonable that someone comes to me and says, hi, we're the CIA. Can we use that prison? And I think, well, I don't know. Maybe they're going to have a yard sale. Maybe they're going to have a bouncy house. You don't know. They didn't tell me. Like,
many people do not know that I think it's 782 of the 800 U.S. military bases overseas are just bouncy houses.
Yes.
It's just a bouncy castle. Yeah.
What if it's a hot summer and the CIA just wants to have a slip and slide, or they have a dunk tank where you get to throw a thing and you see a general go in the tank and all the enlisted guys laugh?
Unfortunately, the Pentagon doesn't have enough money for slip and slide, so it's actually all Crocodile Mile. It's the off-brand slip and slide. They're trying to save tax dollars here.
Right, because the CIA is always they're on a paper thin budget.
Yeah.
So I love that excuse. The U.S. government requested at the end of 2002, beginning of 2003, a building for the CIA, and Iliescu approved it, appointing presidential advisor Ion Talpas in charge of the details. Talpas said that he understood that the situation could become dangerous, so he told the CIA the Romanian government did not want to know anything regarding how the building was used. Attaboy. Just
Listen, those screams we hear coming from that building, we're going to assume you guys watch horror movies on a regular basis.
Yes.
And we're no questions asked.
We just thought you were having a Saw film festival. That's all.
Every day at 3 a.m. We just assumed. Yeah.
It's literally like Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes. Like, I know nothing. I see nothing. Just like, oh boy.
Meanwhile, they're talking to Dr. Strangelove, and they're like, "I'm sure it's fine in there. It's fine." Yeah, grabbing his arm. Yeah.
So that's the history of Romania. How could they possibly know? So let's go to the list of black sites. First of all, there was there are black sites in China.
Really?
And yeah,
I think those are called Apple factories. That's where your iPhone's made, my friend.
Yay! This is made from the black site. I'm so excited. So goddamn, that was a good joke, Lee.
I used to have a bit about finding notes inside like products that say like please help me or like my tiny fingers hurt or stuff like that. And then it literally happened. This is like 10 years ago now, where it was like 2 separate Halloween decorations in Walmart was discovered to have like notes from the like laborers being like, please help us, get us out of here.
Oh my God. Yeah, not surprising. So one of the things too, to clarify for the audience with the black sites is one of how America sort of did this is they would go to countries. So in the same way Romania was like, we don't want to know, we would also farm out to countries that were like, yeah, we love torture. You know, that's at our tourism board. That's one of the things we're like, good beaches, torture, you know,
like torture, then bouncy castles. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like great hiking trails, great torture, you know, just
titty bars, torture. Yeah. The best margaritas.
The best margaritas is just people like dance clubs, torture town, you know. So one of those countries that we love shipping people off to was Egypt. Had black sites are used extensively by the Egyptian security forces during the Egyptian crisis. Hundreds of protesters alleged that torture occurred at these black sites. This Egyptian security service also operated black sites involved with the CIA's counterterrorism black site program. Wait a minute. I want to find this actual list. I had this really great list. Where is that? Hold on. I had this great list. Yeah, here we go. Hold on. No, not that one. Dang it. I just had it a second ago. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
To fill the time, I'll be singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Why are you singing it? Why are you singing it that way? Here we go. This is the list of black sites that is on Wikipedia. So you can all look this up and read along.
Wow. So this is just the liberal approved black sites.
These are the black sites that they're telling us exist.
Yeah.
That they want to keep a low profile on.
This is the limited hangout. If they give you this many on the Wikipedia page, then that means there's 4 times as many as this.
Oh God. They're like, there's only 18. This is that classic thing we talk about when it's like, oh my God, American bombs killed 300 people. And they're like, hey, we only killed 60. Let's not get nuts. It's like 60 is still too many. But got it.
We didn't kill 300 children. It was 239.
Yes. So this is in the country of Morocco. We have in Aouda secret prison. It is a torture and detention center operated by their DST, which is their secret police. And during the Arab Spring protests, the inmates of the Tamara Integration Center were transferred to this one. The United States reportedly paid the Moroccan state $20 million for building the prison. So we helped build it.
All they got was 20 million.
I know.
Like could have done better. They could have held out for more.
They should have got more. 20 million. It's like, Jesus. They don't know how to, some of these countries, they don't know how to bilk. They don't know how to bilk the American government.
I think that many of them, these other countries, can't conceive of the amount of money dumped into our Pentagon and CIA.
Yeah.
So they're quite literally they're doing the Austin Powers $1 million,
right?
And then everyone's like, they only want $1 million. Okay,
all right,
sure.
And they're like, God, we should have asked for 25 million. It's like, no, you should have asked for 200 billion. That's what you should have asked for. Like, but now there's an Antavilai is a neighborhood in Vilnius, the capital of Lithuania. A lot of former Eastern Bloc countries. It's located northwest of the city center on a northern edge of the Antakanlis eldership. It was a separate village until 1969. It was incorporated. The United States CIA built a black site there in 2004, Lee Camp.
That black site includes such glorious features as this car battery that we strap to man's nipples. We have buckets of centipedes and... Yeah.
Yes. Another great place for CIA black sites is Bangladesh. You might have heard, Lee, I'm sure, on your Yelp reviews of the Angar in Bengali, or its secret name is the House of Horror. Is the name of the secret detention center run by the Directorate General of Forces of Intelligence, the DGFI, which is basically Bangladesh's secret police. On August 14th, 2022, a Sweden-based independent news portal published an investigative whistleblower report alleging that Bangladesh officials were detaining and torturing victims of enforced disappearances. Nice.
All of this whole farming it out to other terror squads allows the U.S. to be like, if it comes out what was done there, the U.S. is like, what? They did what?
Yeah. See how they both have plot, like in the way the Romanians were like, we didn't know what they're doing. The CIA can be like, look, we just needed a little, prisoner overflow. We didn't know they were going to, hook piranhas up to their dicks, they can just, everybody can play dumb.
And then you have the people that actually did it also being like, we thought they liked piranhas on their dicks. Everybody's got an alibi or an excuse.
Everyone's got an alibi or an excuse. So as we span the globe, then we go to the black jail. First there was it's called the Black Jail, was a U.S. military detention camp established 2002 inside Bagram Air Base, Afghanistan, a place I've been to 3 different occasions when I performed in Afghanistan in 06, 07, and 08.
Still have your poster on the wall.
Yes. The distinct from the main prison of the Bagram internment facility, the Black Jail was run by the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, which is that a new one? I didn't even know what that one was. And U.S. Special Operation Forces. There were numerous allegations of abuse associated with the prison, including beatings, sleep deprivation, and forcing inmates in distressed position. U.S. authorities have refused to acknowledge the prison's existence. The facility consisted of individual windowless concrete cells, each illuminated by a single light bulb, hence the term Operation Bright Light, glowing 24 hours a day. Its existence was first reported by journalist Anand Gopal and confirmed by many subsequent investigators. Although U.S. President Barack Obama signed an order to eliminate black sites run by the CIA in January of 2009, that order, Lee, did not apply to the black jail in Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan.
I love it's like, first of all, you have the fact that almost all of our presidents don't do something like try and eliminate black sites. So Obama goes rogue and signs this thing to eliminate black sites, and then the CIA is like, "Yeah, we're not gonna do that," and we just like to say "jack off" sign, and then they just ignore it. But Obama, no one in the administration is like, "Oh, now we need to take on the CIA." No, they're like, "Oh, they ignored it. Oh well, we tried." Like,
this is classic Democratic window dressing. Right. The Republicans would just say torture is good for America. Like they just own it as their psychotic, like the Bible says that Jesus should torture non-whites or whatever, they would say, where Obama's like,
an old book of fairy tales that says it's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. Just this fake book from 2000 years ago. But the this is classic Democrats. We don't support torture anymore. So we're going to write a law saying that, do a big press op. But in the fine print, it says, but you can apply this to whatever sites you so, like you can, can. So then, liberals online will see Obama he's better than Trump and Bush. Really?
Yeah, like Obama gave a speech roughly every year of his 8 years saying he was going to close Gitmo, and he never did.
Never.
But damn, were those speeches good, man. I organized them 3 times, like every speech.
So this is more of what, so Obama signed that thing in 2009 and said, you can't do this, but it didn't apply. But then in August of 2009, Obama restricted the time that detainees could be held at the secret jail.
We're only going to violate the Geneva Conventions for a few days at a time. Graham, you have frozen on my end. Oh, shit. Does it mean I got to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star again? Hello.
Are we back? I froze up again.
You're back to me. You're back to me. I got you now. Wait, now you've muted yourself.
How's that?
That's better. I think you have things living in your laptop.
Yeah, I think I need to. I run like the scan test, I run that software almost every day. But I think I literally need to take this in and have someone look at it, because I literally think there's something like literally a village of small people.
Part of the key, if you're on the government tracking list, and I don't know if you are, but is you can't order it from like an online seller, because then they can do whatever they want to it. You have to like walk into Best Buy and just buy one.
That's how I've always gotten my laptops. I've always walked into a store and physically purchased them. So, but I feel like I got someone put a virus in this thing. I don't know what it is. So maybe I'll get another booster since I love Pfizer so much. So,
well, if I bet if you just gave your laptop a vaccine, and then it'd be fine.
Yeah. Where are your mandates now? So, I have one joke, and I'm going to go out of my way to watch a show with people I don't like. I've never watched a show on YouTube or anywhere. If I was like, oh, I don't like this person, I don't spend time out of my day to watch it. But I have a life.
It's people have different passions in life, and that's the great thing about humans. We're a coloring book of different choices, and
I was gonna say a coloring book of morons. Anyway, so when Obama did that great law of restricting detainees, so I'm sure if you were getting tortured, like you're not going to be tortured 24 hours, just 18 of 24 hours, you were like, oh, thank you, Obama.
Oh my God. And you remember the thing we read about, they promised that if the CIA wanted to torture someone with like animals or insects, they had to, they would promise to tell them it was a certain kind of stinging or biting insect, but then put a non-stinging or biting insect in. And it was like, these are legal memos being like, we promise we will put a non-biting or sting. Do you hear yourselves?
Yes, they're out of their minds. So they did this then, of course, and another, like at Balad Air Base in Iraq, I was at Balad as well. During the facility's existence, human rights organizations were concerned that the jail remained inaccessible to both the Red Cross and the Afghan Independent Human Rights Commission. So I'll just read through a couple more. There was the Camp Eggers, which was in Afghanistan. I performed at Camp Eggers, located near the U.S. Embassy and the Afghan Presidential Palace in Kabul. I was performed at Eggers. Camp Nama was a base in Baghdad. That I don't think I ever went to. That was originally built by Saddam Hussein, who he loved torturing people too. So we just like, hey, he built some pretty good torture facilities. We'll just now put an American flag over these torture facilities.
Oh my God. You imagine what a relief it must have been to walk into the facilities and you're like, wait, there's already chains in the walls. This is so easy.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, there's already electric eels in that tank. This is perfect.
There was a swimming pool when I was in Baghdad that used to be, and it was empty. And there was like, and Saddam would put people in the deep end with tigers and let the tigers eat them. And there was like blood and scratch marks on the wall. And he was called like a lunatic, savage, dictator. But our torture was really nice and sweet and full of freedom.
Oh, ours, yeah, it was freedom torture. It's very different. It's very different.
Camp No that's the one that's in Guantanamo Bay. And then there's
Graham, if I look at your comedy tour schedule and it lines up perfectly with all our black sites, I'm going to start to suspect you.
Again, if I was like working for the CIA black sites or I was getting big pharma money, do you think I'd be having all these tech issues in this little hot 1-bedroom apartment? Do you think that, I mean, honestly, wouldn't I have like a state-of-the-art facility?
At minimum, the curtain behind you wouldn't have wrinkles.
I wouldn't be taping it up on the wall. Like I would be in a state-of-the-art facility making crazy money. Like there would be no me losing it on a live stream because I'd just be like, well, I'm getting, $100,000 a week to
you'd have one of those blow me robots. Yeah, you'd have
a blow me robot. Today's episode brought to you by Blow Me Robots, a division of Raytheon. Oh my God. Well, so and there's a couple less. Then there's also one in Poland at the international airport. There's the Salt Pit, which is a CIA black site that was just outside of Bagram Air Base. Again, a place I've been to numerous times. There's the secret orientation centers in Eastern Ukraine. I doubt those are getting much use now. Another one in Poland, and then the one in Morocco that I talked about. So those, ladies and gentlemen, is a list of acknowledged CIA black sites.
Yeah, those are the acknowledged ones. Those are the acknowledged ones. And also I don't know if these were CIA black sites, but there's the ones we've mentioned before in Africa where they discovered the U.S. secret sites. I don't know if it was CIA, but U.S. secret sites, because the Fitbits were streaming back data of the soldiers running around the base, and they weren't leaving the base, so you could actually get a perfect outline of the base from the Fitbit information.
Oh, fantastic. These Fitbit, they're just running the perimeter of the base.
Yeah. I think it was like Niger or something.
Thanks for running the fence line.
Yeah.
I did that in Salerno. I did that at several bases. I'd run outside with the soldiers on the fence line. Yep. So nice. So let's do a government secret segment number 2, Oppenheimer Truth.
All right. So my goal in this next segment is to ruin the movie Oppenheimer for you.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I really want to see it, but even in the trailer, I'm like, I bet you this is a well-made movie, but I bet you it has a bunch of Red Scare CIA-approved script points in it.
Well, I imagine that it. Yeah, I haven't seen or anything about it. I know that it does deal a lot with the qualms of those making the bomb as to whether it would result in the death of humanity and what exactly are we unleashing. So that's a positive. Like I appreciate that. I'm also a huge Christopher Nolan fan. Love his shit. But it's not that I have come to ruin for people. It's the harm that the nuclear testing did to those who lived nearby, which was not mentioned, not even a sentence in the movie, apparently. And oh, hold on, I don't want to share that one. Let's see, I want to share this one. But for those who don't follow this kind of stuff, this is a massive movie that just came out by Christopher Nolan, amazing director, and it's about the first nuclear test, the Manhattan Project, and all of the pluses and minuses of that. But here's the part they won't be telling you. Here's the government secret side of it.
Okay.
Oppenheimer, the blockbuster biopic about the father of the atomic bomb. Some residents in Oppenheimer is the blockbuster biopic. Some residents in southern New Mexico, where the bomb was first tested, say they've been largely erased by the narrative. Oppenheimer is directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Cillian Murphy and Emily Blunt, follows the American scientist as his team races to create the bomb and deals with the aftermath of the creation. Oppenheimer led a group of scientists during World War II to build the bomb first tested in New Mexico near the homes of Hispanic and Native American residents. And just a side note here, you and I have covered on this show how the bomb never needed to be dropped at all.
Yes.
Japan was done and they were willing to surrender. But we both, A, were so racist, we viewed them as like rodents, and B, we just wanted to demonstrate to the Soviet Union that we had this power. So that ultimately is the real reason we dropped it. Anyway, the U.S. government previously seized land from Hispanic and indigenous homesteaders in northern New Mexico that Oppenheimer knew about from horseback riding trips to build a then secretive lab in Los Alamos, New Mexico. So basically, when they're prepping for this, the building of it and the testing, they first steal land from these native residents, both Native Americans and Hispanics who had moved there.
Right.
Known as the Trinity test, scientists first detonated the bomb near the historic Hispanic village of Tularosa and the Mescalero Apache Reservation in 1945. Curious residents went to ground zero immediately after the blast, like in days after the blast, went to ground zero to picnic and take artifacts, including the radioactive green glass known as trinitite and contaminated pieces of cloth that were then used to make christening dresses. They learned the bomb was atomic about a month later.
Oh, by the way,
about that dress you're wearing. And you got to remember that this is a time when radioactivity was not like a commonly talked about thing. I mean, this is before nuclear power. It's before nuclear bombs. So your average person just walking around in New Mexico was not like, oh, radioactivity, that's very harmful. Like,
right. We didn't know it because we hadn't invented this horrific weapon yet. And this is also before like another segment we covered on this show of the, I think, 3 lost nukes that are at the bottom of the ocean or whatever. So yeah, any of that fun stuff hadn't happened yet.
Yeah. So Tina Cordova, the co-founder of Tularosa Basin Downwinders Consortium, that's what they call them, is downwinders, those who were downwind from these blasts. Now, I think when I hear downwinders, I think like, someone farted or something, but this is much worse. I'd say a lot worse than being downwind from a fart.
A little bit. I don't think the former, causes cancer. But
you haven't met my uncle.
I think you're going to need to issue an apology in the next episode for these fart jokes, Lee. I think you've taken the show down.
I mean, mainly just to my uncle, but so Tina Cordova, the co-founder, says the new movie is nothing but an over-glorification of the science and scientists, again, with no reflection on the harm done to the people in New Mexico. Cordova says no one from the movie ever contacted survivors. We've done everything to reach out to the filmmakers from the time that they were filming until today. She says, just include a panel, a message at the end of the film that acknowledges the sacrifice and suffering of the people in New Mexico. So it really does. Here's the thing is, when I was reading this, I was like, well, you make a movie about one thing, you can't have everything in it. Like it can't be half about the New Mexican residents who were harmed, but what they're asking for is incredibly reasonable, like a sentence from a character in the movie about the harm to local residents, or a sentence written on the screen at the end about the harm to residents at the time. So what they're asking for is very reasonable, and apparently the filmmakers would never even answer, have never addressed it, won't answer emails now. So I'm going to go with not cool. That's not cool. Henry,
yeah, I'd put that in the not cool column for sure. I'd put that in the not cool column. It's like right up there with eating the last slice of pizza before asking. It's right in that same.
Eating the last and then at least half of the black sites I'd put on the not cool list.
Yes, not cool for sure.
No.
That's up there with like borrowing a guy's car and bringing it back with an empty tank. The black sites, I'd put same thing.
Yep. And then setting off atomic bombs and leaving children to be irradiated. I'm just below the car thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably between the car thing and then like at a pool party when no one's gotten in the pool yet and people are still sort of eating or opening presents or something, and you do a big cannonball that kind of, it's like, not yet. We're not ready for that part of, what I mean? That's not cool. I'd put that
somewhere
between the black sites and the
But above all of those things, I'd put someone asking you to pick them up at the airport, and then you go to pick them up, and they don't let you know that they're taking a flight the next day.
Yo, that's way worse than whatever this radioactive stuff is. That's the worst, dude. That is the worst.
That's the top by a bullet. Yeah.
Oh, easy.
So Henry Herrera was 11 years old when he witnessed the tritium test explosion. He says, quote, "My mother had just hung her white clothes on the clothesline, and god dang, you should have seen the god dang dust that rolled all over town." Herrera had his jaw reconstructed after suffering from mouth cancer, like many other residents. A 2017 report, which I'm going to get into a little bit more in a second, found that the Trinity test caused generations of southern New Mexico families to suffer from cancer and economic hardship. But New Mexico is not included in the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act. So Congress actually passed a Radiation Exposure Compensation Act in 1990 to award financial reparations to Nevada test site downwinders, or people who lived downwind of the radiation and were impacted. However, they left New Mexico out of that act. U.S. Senator Ben Ray Leon has reintroduced a bill to include New Mexico downwinders in the act before its scheduled expiration in 2024.
Wow. I bet you that's probably because people literally, like senators and Congress people, still think New Mexico is part of Mexico and not part of the United States.
Totally. They're like, wait, New Mexico, it has those Mexicans, doesn't it?
Right?
Yeah. So to get in for a second into this report that came out in just 2017. So this is not long ago. It always amazes me that we're still, oh wait,
Yeah.
Graham disappeared, but that we're still learning about this shit. Like, how many years has it been? Fucking 80. And we're like, oh, it turns out people were harmed by these things. Graham, I don't know if you can hear me, but
I can't hear you.
Oh, wait. Now we've got duct tape cam.
Yes. Duct tape cam. Duct tape cam.
Everyone's excited for duct tape cam.
There we go. Now we're back to this one.
All right. Residents say the first atom bomb test caused cancer cases. So this is the 2017. This is an article about the 2017 study. Residents say the world's first atomic bomb test caused generations of southern New Mexico families to suffer from cancer and economic hardship. The surveys released Friday detailed resident stories from areas around the Trinity test in 1945 and argue that many Hispanic families later struggled to keep up with cancer-related illnesses. It's the first time ever that a study was done on the Tularosa Downwinders. We wanted people to tell their stories in the fashion because it's never been done before. I don't know what in the fashion means. It was the 1945 atomic test happened in 1945, but since then, descendants have been plagued with cancer and other illnesses, while federal government has ignored their plight. Around 800 community health surveys and 2 community focus groups were used to collect data for the report. Here's the last thing. Residents did not learn that the test had involved an atomic weapon that could be radioactive until the U.S. dropped bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the war ended. So basically, no one came to nearby residents to say that it was radioactive until we dropped the atomic bombs months later.
Hey, I should have said this when I came by a couple months ago. Do you remember that huge mushroom cloud that was kind of in your backyard? Yeah, it turns out it wasn't a dust storm or locust. Actually, it was a radioactive plume. So
and you know the dust that ended up in your eyes and your mouth and in all your food and shit. Don't eat that. And I know it was a couple of months ago, but just go back and don't eat that. Definitely don't.
Go back and don't eat that.
That's actually the name. That's actually the name of the Back to the Future reboot.
Go back and don't eat that.
Go back and don't eat that.
I thought that was the name of a Back to the Future themed tribute band called Go Back and Don't Eat That.
I was going to say Back to the Future themed restaurant. Go back and don't eat that.
Yeah, and the band that plays at the themed restaurant is the Marty McFlys.
Yeah. Oh. Well, anyway, that is the story that the Oppenheimer movie leaves out. And
just a minor
detail. And again, I don't expect a Hollywood movie to get every person who was exploited or harmed by our past. However, what was requested of them is like the least they could do, involve these people in a panel, have a sentence at the end of the film, anything. And they refuse to even address it.
Yeah, I mean, they could have at the very least even just done that bumper sticker acknowledgement like they did. Remember in A League of Their Own, it's all white women playing baseball. And at the very end, she throws a baseball to a black woman. And it's like, which is such a weak effort of Hollywood to acknowledge black baseball players and black women. But it was like, at least it was this much. It was something.
I had never remembered that. But I mean, as a kid, that just went over my head or something. I had always liked that movie. And then I rewatched it a couple of years ago. And that bizarre scene that's just crammed in there where she hurls a ball to a fan or hits, I guess a batter hits or something. And the black woman catches it. And then they all look at her like, wow, you caught that ball and you're black. It's very bizarre. But it was like this. It was just a sad little attempt to address the fact that, oh, these are all white women for a reason. Like,
yeah. Oh, Lee, we lost your camera.
I don't know. We lose mine or we lose
Camp.
yours?
No, we lost Lee. Usually I'm the one that gets lost.
Not sure. Testing. The people in the chat will have to tell us who is actually lost. Is it Graham or is it me? Weirdly, if you guys can see me, no, you know what? If you can't see me, I'm going to tell you this. No, weirdly, assuming you can still see me, weirdly, this shit gets the worst at the end of the hour. So luckily, the 2-3 times this happened the past few weeks, we have had mainly a fine hour, and then we get towards the end, and then it all collapses. Anyway, let me tell you because we'll see if we get Graham back in a second. But we have an extra segment in a few minutes at patreon.com/government secrets. That's patreon.com/government secrets. And if you sign up there, you get all of the past extra segments. So 30 some extra segments immediately available to you. I know that we're at least talking about, I don't know everything we're talking about, but I know we're at least talking about the government secret that involved the first war in Iraq, where we may or may not have said that we would leave Saddam Hussein alone if he invaded Kuwait. But anyway, we'll be getting into that government secrets and others in the Patreon. I will wait a couple more minutes and see if Graham comes back, since we are wrapping up. But yeah, the Patreon always starts just a few minutes after we finish here. So usually 5 or 10 minutes after we finish this up. By the way, folks, I talked to Cornel West, presidential candidate Cornel West, on my live stream today. That is at Lee Camp. Where should I send you? Go to rumble.com/Lee Camp. That's the best place for the moment. Rumble.com/Lee Camp. And you can see my half-hour interview with Cornel West, where he reveals why he chose to run third party. And he also reveals what he thinks he can achieve, even if he does not become the next president of the United States, although he clearly will. But all of that is at rumble.com/Lee Camp. Okay, in about 30 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and we will be on Patreon at patreon.com/government secrets. All right, let's do that. Patreon.com/government secrets. Join me over there. And if you want to see, and in the meantime, because it'll take us 5 minutes to go over there, in the meantime, you can pull up rumble.com/Lee Camp and click on the Cornel West interview. Be well, folks, and I hope to see you on Patreon.